الحمد لله رب العالمين الذي من على المؤمنين إذ بعث فيهم رسولا من أنفسهم يتلو عليهم آياته ويزكيهم ويعلمهم الكتاب والحكمة والصلاة والسلام الأتمان الأكملان على سيدنا وحبيبنا ومولانا محمد الذي أرسله الله بشيرا ونذيرا وداعيا إلى الله بإذنه وسراجا منيرا وعلى آله وأصحابه وأولاده وأزواجه وأهل بيته ومن اهتدى بهديه واقتدى بسنته إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم جزى الله عنا نبينا محمدا صلى الله عليه وسلم بما هو أهله. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had blessed Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam with two sons. The elder son being Nabi Ismail alayhi salatu wasalam, and the younger son was Nabi Ishaq alayhi salatu wasalam. Nabi Ishaq alayhi salatu wasalam lived in Sham, in the blessed land of Sham, of Palestine and surrounding areas. And among his progeny, many Anbiya alayhi salatu wasalam had come, and they largely were based in the surroundings of Baytul Muqaddas and in the blessed land of Sham. However, with regards to the elder son of Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, Sayyiduna Ismail alayhi salatu wasalam, it was the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam that he should take this son, who was an infant child at that time, and his mother Sayyidah Hajar radiyallahu anha, to the land of Makkah Mukarramah. As Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam was traveling on the Buraq with his family, then whenever he would pass a fertile, lush place, he would ask Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam, Anzil hahuna ya Jibreel, O Jibreel, should I get off here? Should I settle my family here? However, Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam would reply in the negative, until finally they came to the barren land of Makkah Mukarramah. Here Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam says to Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, Inzil ya Ibrahim, O Ibrahim, get off here and settle your family in this area. So he asked Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam, Haythu la dar'a wa la zar', in a place where there is no animals, there is no vegetation whatsoever. Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam replies in the affirmative, and then he says to him, Ha huna yakhrujun nabiyyul kareem alladhi min dhurriyyati ibnika Ismail, that here the noble Nabi will emerge, who will be from the progeny of your son Ismail alayhi salatu wasalam. The incident is lengthy, of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam leaving his wife and infant child here in this barren land of Makkah Mukarramah. And when he left, then he made dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Again, very famous du'as that Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam made. Rabbi ij'al hadha al-balada amina wajnubni wa baniya an na'bud al-asnam. He made dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should make Makkah Mukarramah a safe place. And he made dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should protect him and his family from worshipping idols. And then another dua that Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam made for his progeny and his family that he was leaving behind in Makkah Mukarramah. رَبَّنَا إِنِّي أَسْكَنْتُ مِنْ ذُرِّيَّتِي بِوَادٍ غَيْرِ ذِي زَرْعٍ عِنْدَ بَيْتِكَ الْمُحَرَّمِ رَبَّنَا لِيُقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ فَاجْعَلْ أَفْئِدَةً مِنَ النَّاسِ تَهْوِي إِلَيْهِمْ وَارْزُقْهُمْ مِنَ الثَّمَرَاتِ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَشْكُرُونَ. A very profound dua of Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. The gist of this dua is that, O Allah, I have left my family here in this barren land, near your sacred house. And O Allah, their responsibility and the main objective of them being here in Makkah Mukarramah is liyuqimus salah, for them to establish salah. Faj'al af'idatan minan nasi tahwi ilayhim. O Allah, you incline the hearts of people and you attract the hearts of people towards them. And O Allah, you bless them with provisions so that they can become grateful servants of yours. So the main intention of Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam leaving his family in Makkah Mukarramah was so that they could establish salah, they could establish deen, so that Makkah Mukarramah would become a center of tawheed, a center of hidayat and guidance and ibadat. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepted this dua of Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. Therefore, we mention that the other dua he had made with regards to a Nabi coming from his progeny. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Ana da'watu Ibrahim, that I am the answer to the dua of Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. Then Sayyidah Hajara radiyallahu anha was living in Makkah Mukarramah with very basic provisions. And a time came when the provisions ran out. Miraculously the water of Zamzam gushed out. And now there was a water source in the desert. So in a desert area, a water source attracts life because of scarcity of water. And therefore, Makkah Mukarramah previously was not inhabited. Nabi Adam alayhi salatu wasalam had built the Kaaba. People would come to the area of the Kaaba, etc. But it was not inhabited because there was no water source. Now when there was a water source, then birds began to come to the area to drink from the water. And there was a group from the tribe of Jurhum. This Jurhum tribe hailed from Yemen. There was a severe drought in Yemen which forced them to leave Yemen. They were pure Arabs. The Jurhum was an Arab tribe of Yemen, and now they left Yemen looking for some type of livelihood. When they settled at the bottom area of Makkah Mukarramah, and they were acquainted with the area because previously they had traveled in this area, they see birds hovering around. So they speak among themselves that we know there's no water source in this area. How come these birds are moving around, flying around, hovering around? So they send 2 scouts to go and scout the area, and they come and they see the well of Zamzam, and there they find Sayyidah Hajar alayhi salatu wasalam sitting near the well of Zamzam. They go back to their group and they bring the entire group, and now they ask permission from Sayyidah Hajar alayhi salatu wasalam, أَتَأْذَنِينَ لَنَا أَن نَنزِلَ عِنْدَكَ, do you allow us to settle here near you? So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam explained that she was also looking for company. There was no one there in Makkah Mukarramah, it was only her and her infant child. They were looking for some type of company. So she allows them to live there in Makkah Mukarramah. However, she says to them, La haqqa lakum fil ma, this water belongs to us. We have the rights over the water. You will not own this water. They call the rest of their family, and in this way, the Jurhum who are Arabs, they now settle in Makkah Mukarramah, and Ismail alayhi salatu wasalam grows up among this Jurhum tribe, and it was from them that he learnt Arabic. Because the language of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam wasn't Arabic. It was either Hebrew or Syriac language that Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam would speak. So, Ismail alayhi salatu wasalam learnt Arabic from the Jurhum. And then when he grew up, finally, he even married among this Jurhum. And this was the beginning of the lineage of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Makkah Mukarramah. Ismail alayhi salatu wasalam was made a Nabi, and he was sent to the Jurhum tribe, the same tribe, as well as the Amalika, and also the people of Yemen. After Ismail alayhi salatu wasalam, as per his instruction and his bequest, his son Nabit bin Ismail, he was in charge of the Kaaba. However, after him, the Jurhum tribe, who now were the in-laws of Ismail alayhi salatu wasalam, and they were the maternal family of the children of Ismail alayhi salatu wasalam, they overpowered the children of Ismail alayhi salatu wasalam with regards to the control of Makkah Mukarramah and the Kaaba, and they began administering and controlling Makkah Mukarramah and the Kaaba. The children of Ismail alayhi salatu wasalam, despite their huge numbers, they did not fight against them, firstly because it was their mother's family, and secondly, لِعَظَمَةِ الْبَيْتِ الْحَرَامِ, out of respect for the Baytullah and respect for the Haram, they did not want to fight in the Haram. So the Jurhum tribe continued to control Makkah Mukarramah and the Kaaba, and as time went on, they began getting involved in various types of wrongs, violating the sanctity of the Kaaba, oppressing people, oppressing the visitors that would come to visit the Baytullah. They began usurping the wealth of the Kaaba. People would come and donate wealth for the Kaaba. They were usurping this wealth to such an extent that there is a report that there was a man and a woman, the man by the name of Isaf and the woman Naila, that had even fornicated and committed zina right in the Kaaba. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's adab came onto them, and they were transformed into stone. This stone was moved out from that area, and then later on, people began to even worship these stones, Isaf and Naila. When their transgression had gone out of bounds, then there was another tribe, the Khuza'a tribe, which was also from Yemen. And they had come and settled outside the Haram area when they saw the Jurhum going out of control, out of bounds, and violating the sanctity of the Haram and of Baytullah. So the Khuza'a now fought against the Jurhum. And they banished the Jurhum from Makkah Mukarramah. The Banu Ismail, the family of Ismail alayhi salatu wasalam, stayed out of this fight. They did not get involved in this fight. However, the Khuza'a had overpowered the Jurhum and they banished them from Makkah Mukarramah. And Amr ibn al-Harith, the leader of the Jurhum tribe at that time, out of spite, when he was leaving, he took many of the valuables of the Kaaba and he dumped it in the well of Zamzam. And he completely covered the well of Zamzam to such an extent there was no trace of the well of Zamzam. And the well of Zamzam remained in this manner, completely closed for centuries. Until later on we will discuss that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had blessed the grandfather of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Abdul Muttalib, with the privilege of rediscovering the well of Zamzam and then digging the well of Zamzam once again. So this is what they had done out of spite when leaving Makkah Mukarramah. The leader of the Jurhum, he had completely covered and left no traces of the well of Zamzam. They went back to Yemen and now the Khuza'a took charge of Makkah Mukarramah. And they continued ruling over Makkah Mukarramah for a long time. However, despite them initially putting an end to the wrongs of the Jurhum, it was among the Khuza'a that the very, very evil practice of idol worship was started off by the Khuza'a themselves. One of their very prominent leaders, a very wealthy person, extremely wealthy leader, an influential leader of the Khuza'a, Amr bin Luhay. On one of his journeys to Sham, he had come across a certain group of people that were worshipping idols. There was no idol worship in Makkah Mukarramah. They were following the creed of Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, Nabi Ismail alayhi salatu wasalam. He went to this area and he finds people worshipping idols. So he asked them, he inquires from them, what is this? What are you doing? So they explain, we worship these idols and we ask them for rain and they give us rain. We ask them for help, they give us help. They make us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, na'udhu billah. So he asked them, can't you give me one idol? And they gave him an idol, which later on was a very famous idol of the Quraysh, the Hubal. The Hubal idol, they gave it to him, and then he brought it to Makkah Mukarramah. Because of his influence that he had, the wealth that he had, etc., he commanded the people of Makkah Mukarramah to worship this idol Hubal, and this is how idol worship had commenced in Makkah Mukarramah, which was supposed to be a center of Tawheed and the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Similarly, he changed many things with regards to their deen. And he added many rituals. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam explained, أَوَّلُ مَنْ سَيَّبَ السَّوَائِبِ وَبَحَرَ الْبَحِيرَ. There were certain types of rituals and customs that they had regarding camels and dedicating certain camels to their idols, etc. He was the one who had started all these unfounded and baseless and shirk practices in Makkah Mukarramah. Therefore Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned in the hadith as well, رَأَيْتُ عَمْرَ بْنَ لُحَيٍّ يَجُرُّ قُصْبَهُ فِي النَّارِ. That I saw Amr bin Luhay dragging his intestines behind him in the fire of Jahannam. He was punished very, very severely because of him starting all this shirk and idol worship in Makkah Mukarramah, which was the center of Tawheed. Inshallah we will continue. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina wa maulana Muhammadi wa alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in.